What's up, guys? Welcome to the Common Sense is Not Dead podcast. I'm your host, Michael Vorpahl. Welcome to the show. If this is your first time, look, you're just going to get a different kind of show because I think common sense can become a common virtue, but we have to make it common. And you and I can do that together. And how can we do that together? By applying the things and lessons that I talk about here, but with you sharing them. So not just apply them, but share them with a like-minded friend, someone who needs to hear this, someone you know will gain value. But I only want you to share this show if I give you value, gives you something to think about, a different perspective, a sharing of ideas, right? Maybe you heard something for the first time and it made you go, that kind of makes sense. However, disclaimer, if you don't believe in common sense things, the show may not be for you, but give it a chance. And what do I mean by that? I mean, up is not down and down is not up. A boy can't be a girl can't be a boy. And you're not going to convince me that the sky is raining meatballs. Okay. It's just not going to happen. So common sense would tell me the sky's blue. It rains rain. It has clouds. I'm a dude. And if you don't have the same genitalia and biology makeup as me, then you're not a dude, which means you're a chick. You're a girl, just the way God made you. So that's the mentality that I bring to this show. And if you respect that, I would much appreciate the subscribe, share with a friend. But today is actually a new show. So welcome. If this is the first time watching this, it's a new show within the show or segment of the show or episode. I don't know what to call it yet, but it's called The Bottom Line Up Front. All right. So the BLUF, the BLUF, Bottom Line Up Front. And for this inaugural BLUF episode, this is the bottom line up front. You treat male and female service members the same. So backstory real quick. I also am in the United States Marine Corps at the time of this recording, little over 16 years now of experience. So this is geared really towards those leaders and any future leaders, current leaders in the armed services, but you can absolutely apply this to your job or field that you're in now. Maybe you're a manager, maybe you're a team lead, maybe you want to be a manager, maybe you want to become an executive, things like that. And you can absolutely take this and apply it in your world too. But for my service members, here's the BLUF. You treat male and female service members the same. There's no difference in applying leadership principles and traits when leading Marines, both male and female, or in your branch, your respective service members, whether they're male or female. It would be best if you treated them the same. Bottom line up front. There's no difference between male and female service members in terms of applying the leadership principles and characteristics and traits and lessons or concepts between each sex. There's no difference. And it blows my mind that over the last 16 years, this still is a thing that we're talking about, that we still haven't just adopted. Look, we're the same. We're humans. It's all about how we apply these principles that matter, how we apply these traits. But really, these leadership principles and traits, at least that we're taught as Marines and very similarly across all services, haven't changed too much. And they've been tried and true in all type of leadership seminars, organizations that are out there where companies are like paying tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars to have outside entities come in order to advisors, in order to come in and really dissect the leadership, the style, how to become better leaders, how to promote that within an organization. And yet we've been taught it for free and we can't figure this out. And we can't accept the fact that we have some of the best leadership training, ethics, principles, traits, and concepts that everyone else craves. And yet we still haven't accepted the fact that how great that is. The severity and significance of the traits, principles, and concepts that we have at our disposal. In fact, we also are taught since day one that there's no difference between, for me, Marine Corps. So when I speak Marine, just go ahead and apply it for your field or your organization or your branch of service, that there's no difference between a male Marine and a female Marine in that we're just Marines and that we need to treat each other the same. We both signed the dotted line. We both signed the same commitment into the organization and the core values that we have: honor, courage, commitment, and subsequently are instilled with these leadership principles and characteristics and leadership traits that we are supposed to hone in, refine, and build. We have the same standards written in both our job and physical requirements. Now, there is a difference between male physical requirements and female physical requirements in terms of overall fitness tests and things like that. But that's just what we hold them to. So in the spirit of that and physical fitness, because everyone can get emotional on it, a job of a leader is to hold to the standard and help them improve. Yes, a female Marine might have a different set of physical standards than a male Marine does. And that's okay. We are biologically different in that sense. So you have this sense of unfairness if I were to hold someone who literally physically could not do the same amount. It's nothing against them. It's just biologically, it has to be proportionate, which makes sense, which means it's pretty fair. That's some common sense thinking to me. But our job as leaders is not to treat them different because they can't do 23 pull-ups. No, that's a false comparison. You can't do that. That's not applying the leadership principles and traits. So as we develop as leaders, this needs to be the staple of how you approach your leadership ability and your ability to grow. The principles and traits are not gender specific. Insubordination is insubordination regardless of sex. Does not matter. If someone is disrespectful to a senior leader, or a senior leader is incredibly disrespectful to a junior subordinate, then that is not gender specific. That is leader to being led, mentor to mentee, mentee to mentor, those being led to leader. That's it. There's no sex involved in it. There's no male or female. Well, because they're a female or because they're a male, they get this reprimand. No, that's not how that works. They get the same. They get the same. Okay. The Uniform Code of Military Justice, which is our rules and laws, is not gender specific. It's all inclusive because everyone loves inclusivity as well. It's all inclusive. All leadership traits, principles, and concepts is all inclusive. Okay. So if you're one that loves inclusivity, there you go. It's all the same. 100%. You are included. We are all included in this. We're all in this together. Bring back some High School Musical. All right. Look, we're all in it together. It's all inclusive. So insubordination is insubordination. Reprimands are reprimands. Promotions are promotions. And we can't discriminate against sex anyway already. So the fact that we're still talking about this and we can't just move on from this and apply it in everyday fashion blows my mind. Everyone is created equal anyway. And I learned that prior to the Marine Corps, my military service, and swearing to uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States. I learned that early. You probably learned that early. And if you didn't, man, I'm sorry for your upbringing. Let me be the first to welcome you to this mentality that every other common sense American, and let alone maybe the world, has. Well, maybe not the whole world. I mean, that's pretty obvious. But we here know that all men and women are treated equal. At least they're supposed to be. If you see some a act that's unequal, then that's unfortunate and we need to correct it. And I hope this podcast and this episode sparks some of that for at least one person. I hope this actually reached the one person who might not be treating and approaching situations fairly, and that this actually sparks them to treat them fairly, because that's what's needed. We have to be a part of the solution. We have to treat everyone as we would like to be treated. It's that golden rule, right? We can't discriminate. I'm a Christian. For those of you that do unto others in which you would have done unto you. It's the golden rule. We've been taught that since day one. Another part of the solution is apply leadership principles, traits, characteristics, concepts ruthlessly, relentlessly, and without hesitation, and apply them regardless of the sex of the person that you are communicating with, or that you are leading, or that you are being led by, because it does not matter. I've had female leadership. I've had male leadership. I've led females. I've led males. And I do to this day. It's always going to be a mixture. And it has never, ever been dependent on the sex of the individual who I'm either leading or being led by that defined how I'm going to lead, or how I'm going to be led, or how I'm going to follow. my mentor. It's not. It's never been. It's a non-issue, and it should be a non-issue. Because always remember, we signed the dotted line together, which is not specific to a gender. It's specific to your service. And maybe that's a civilian corporate job for those of you out there who aren't in the military. But for us service members, we signed the dotted line to our organization. And that was the expectation when we signed the dotted line. In fact, in black and white, that's what is expected within the organization, are the concepts I'm talking about right now, the common sense concepts of leadership I'm talking about right now. Yeah, we may be different physically. We may have different physical standards when it comes to measuring our fitness levels. But again, biological differences hold no weight or merit when it comes to leadership. None whatsoever. I think it's really trivial thinking to believe otherwise. In fact, I know it to be true. I think it's a lack of maturity, an immature way of thinking to think that because one's a male or female, they can't be as good of leaders, or that they can't do it without discriminating against the sex of the people that they are leading. So, over the course of the last 16 years at the time of this recording, I cannot tell you how many Marines have come up to me and just simply said thank you for not treating them different than anyone else, for giving them a fair shake, for giving them left and right lateral limits or the scope of what they can and cannot do. Here are my limits of where I can go. Here's the limits of what will be tolerated. You cannot be late. You're going to get the same punishment as this person. All of them have come up and said thank you. Even some that went through a pretty rough go came up at the end of the day and said thank you for holding me to the standard, both male and female. Countless. And that's what I'm going to keep going. Like moving forward, that's what I'm going to keep doing. And I hope that you join me in doing the same thing, because we need it now more than ever. Leadership and those who care in these concepts and these traits and these principles that we are taught need to be at the forefront of all the leadership across the services now more than ever. We are at a pivotal point in history, in our organization's history, and the longevity of these things, and whether or not we're going to allow us to regress back into the past. And we already saw what that was like. All the rights and movements that have gone throughout history that are remarkable are there and are done, and we need to constantly apply the way forward in the new accepted norm of gender not being a thing, of sex not being a discriminatory factor, race, and all of those other things that we have worked so hard and already gone through the turmoil with as a nation, let alone organizations on top of it, that swear to uphold these forward-moving things that make America still the beacon of the world. But I need you to come with me. I need you to be with me in this. Because if we don't, history will repeat itself, and we do not want that to happen. So again, coming back to the bottom line up front, you treat male and female service members the same. There's no difference in applying leadership principles, traits, characteristics, and concepts when leading male and female service members or your teams in the civilian world. I appreciate you guys watching this. If this was your first time, again, welcome. I'm more than appreciative of the time you gave me today. And if this made you think, made you laugh at times even, maybe with a little wittiness, as you will, but ultimately, if it gave you a different perspective and you know that this is the way forward, just share the show with a friend. It'd be greatly appreciated. I can't grow without you. Obviously, I'm doing this by my own, by myself, no sponsorships, no ads, and I hope to keep doing so, but I need your help. So spread the love and let's go make sense, common sense, a common virtue.